Hi everyone, this is Tanya the Lady Strange. Welcome to another weekly collective reading starting today, March 22nd to March 28th of 2026. That is how my readings go and how I'm advised to read, and that's what works and is effective. So with that being said, spring is becoming more evident here in the Northern Hemisphere and in central New York in particular where I live and reside in. Better temperatures and Mother Earth showing growth, things starting to blossom, as is life. Every day is a winding road, a winding path, and part of the experience and the cyclical nature of just experience and being a human, but also being a spiritual, magical being. As we all hold our own divine presence in ourselves. And we should recognize and embody that. But we should also be recognized and present with being a human and being a good human, whether we're male, female, or how we identify. Despite all the people that may not, and unsavory characters in this world, that's clearly evident more and more each day, and those powers that be or in power, no matter where we live and reside in the world and our situations, that doesn't, it's also best to still, yes, acknowledge that, process that as part of the experience, also to recognize more so. How can you change your daily life perspective, experience, and have a healthy, more empowered experience, but also show up for others as it's all conjunctive? And with that being said, the crystal that presented itself this week when I started going through and connecting, as I always do, I'm always connected and always to my intuition. I'm a big channeler. That's one of my witchy superpowers, so to say. But and that's why one of my birth cards is the High Priestess. But and justice for discernment. So has to be a marriage of both, just like I just said about that. This week kind of does talk about that too, as does life. If you see me here or something moving, I have a needy cat on here, my lap, Willow. She always likes to make cameos. I can't talk. Cameos on mine and my husband Matt's YouTube videos. But that's what cats do. They want and pets. They make attention and want attention when you're preoccupied or immersed in something else. So this getting back to that, this week's crystal, before this gets too rambly, is came up as Carnelian. Now you're gonna see why this actually came up first as a guide, a message, and an energy for this week. As I do the reading. Kind of nice how those things and synchronicities come up in our experience. So this Carnelian in particular has made cameos before in previous readings a while back. This is a beautiful palm stone. Willow's moving, sorry about that. Beautiful palm stone that is for my one of my spirits, but he wants me to use it this week. He's very generous. Let's just put it that way. But this is his main stone that he claimed, but I work with, and he's going to help guide me with this week. So, with that being said, if you own Carnelian and want to work with it, that's fine. If you don't own Carnelian, then it's a beautiful stone, very fairly common to find and fairly inexpensive. This one was, even for the quality that this holds. I'm blessed to have found it. But Carnelian this week, it's talking about embodying your sovereignty, your power, your courage, showing up for yourself, showing up for what you're having to achieve, what you're continuing to work through, your evolution, but also the evolution of your relationships and what you want to show up in your life and what you bring into this world. But it's also talking about Carnelian does about being connected to, and it's very highly connected to the base chakra, the root chakra meaning, and of course the brain's going on here, as I believe the sacral chakras, the lower chakras, but also a stone of fire, desire, creation, but also I'm married with keeping yourself grounded in the present and being present, having presence. Now, we all need that for this world. We all need to advocate for ourselves, but we also need to advocate for others in our lives and for the causes that matters in a healthy, empowered way. There is ways to take things too far and to give too much and to forget about yourself. So Carnelian's saying, show up for yourself, show up for others and your causes, create your reality, but stay rooted in reality. Be present and be a discerning, deciding factor in what you're continuing to build in this life and what you're continuing to heal and what you want to show up in the world and heal as. So be yourself, embrace your fire. And with that being said, the crystal, or not the crystal, the card deck this week, sorry about that, is that it was guide for. Don't know if I've ever read for on this channel before, but I love this deck. I do not work with as much, sorry about that. She's pulling my sweater. So it's the Serpent Fire, is the tarot that came up. Many of you may be familiar with this. Such a lovely deck. I think I'm being called to use it more, or will be, maybe in next month's daily draws and path working, as everything's a path working for me and continues throughout life. And the other, no surprise, Haunted Manor. Just these two decks want to be featured this week and have messages. I've already pulled cards in the meaning of time, and because I get rambly, these videos do, because I often get channeled on that, but discombobulated, that's life. But it's all about intention. And this message is meant to reach and resonate whom I know it will and continue to. So with that being said, too, please like, comment, and subscribe, as it helps us to reach others that this is meant to in a world of unfavorable AI in many aspects and the logarithms that we're all at mercy of. Just like we said about things of the powers that be that may be in control. So the cards that came to be, Willow, sit still. Sorry about that. Beautiful cat. Pain in the ass sometimes. So the card that came out from the top of the Serpent Fire is going to be Two of Swords. Swords are, from the sword suit is air, the element of air. So it's in the realm of thought. It's in the realm of perspectives, logic, truth, the voice. This one is speaking this week along with the Carnelian of, despite having uncertainty and potentially having two larger choices or spiritual paths or circumstances that you may be working through or deciding on or have been on embarking on, it is saying it's the time to make the change, to choose the path and trust the path. Trust yourself more so. Speak your voice, embody your voice, but do so in a very discerning way. Despite being uncertain, show up for yourself. The path you choose, it's time to do so. It's time to be rooted in that decision and to have faith in yourself. Not hope, but faith in yourself, your life, and that things are going to turn out for the best or is meant to be, but that you have the ability to work through that and alter that and put the effort in. That's all about that. Despite not seeing, it's about knowing, much like the High Priestess this one is. So that's the main thing is, with the message this week, is having that Two of Swords and breaking through that uncertainty to continue to move ahead. Despite not seeing that, you know you'll be choosing the right path. Just as the Ozzy song says, the road nowhere to nowhere leads to me, pretty much. That's how I look at it as I see each day and experience that. Now, the underlying message that came from the bottom of the deck, as I was advised and guided by my guides, and of course, what I work with in myself and my intuition, is the Six of Wands. So by breaking through those uncertainties, the fears, and actually making a choice to actually choose, or choices to choose a path and make the decisions or do follow through this week, and using your logic and discernment and your voice, your truth, and most of all, just discernment and having clarity, the clarity to move forward and to break through maybe what was a barrier crossing in your life, or an obstacle, or long term or short term obstacle, is by doing so this week. You're going to have an effective, empowered week by doing so, and leading yourself and others maybe in your life and through the choices that you make and the path you decide to work, much to a Six of Wands state. That's victory. Wands have to do with the element of fire. It is will, it's action, it's hard earned work. It's a stage where you can look back at all the choices, what you put in, the time, the effort, the thought, the feeling, the creation, and that to gain victory, to be a victor in it and a participant in your life, and recognizing how you've been a participant, and those that have participated for you all along and supported you and will continue to do so. This world and this life is ever changing, but you count your wins, no matter how small they may be. There's always something to have victory over each day, and even the existence of having the opportunity to be present in this human life and this body. No matter what it is, there's always something to gain victory over, or something that you can be part of yourself, or even for others in this life, and in your life especially. Now, from the Haunted Manor Oracle, this is appropriate with the Carnelian. This is appropriate with the message of breaking through uncertainty, making choice, get rooted, and swamp. These go kind of in conjunction with the message because of uncertainty. Wait carefully. That's by being discernment, taking your time, feeling, analyzing, but making the right choice by going from your experience, your wisdom, and trusting your gut feeling, and but also being present and rooted in what is there, and being firm in that, and deepening those roots as things come more into fruition, blossom and grow. Bring into what you need to be this week. It is going to be a very effective, empowered week, a high energy week to be able to create and take those next steps, but also to heal the past and let that past go. This collective is very strong when it comes to that aspect of healing and evolution of aspects of life, rebirth, death, rebirth, evolution of self, evolution of the relationships, and recreating and rebuilding, often like a phoenix from the ashes, kind of like the message of Carnelian. This week is, as long as you root down and you start being a bit more clear, very firm in your choices, even if others criticize you or may shun you. It's about what's right for you, your life, your experience, and your personal kingdom and relationships in this life. And of course, just being careful and moving through maybe the old baggage, the old muck. It's about being present. And with that being said, again, please like, comment, and subscribe, as it helps my channel be seen and grow, and know that my messages are reaching others and who it's meant to, as others' messages reach me and whom they're meant to. And with that being said, stay strange.